I wanted to show you something that just released. We've known about this for a while. OpenAI have just released something called study mode. So we heard about this a couple of weeks ago, but it came out and it's live as of yesterday. So study mode is a new way to learn in ChatGPT that offers step-by-step guidance instead of quick answers. So generally when you go to ChatGPT, you're just looking for an answer. You're not actually learning. You're not actually seeking to learn about that topic. You just want the information and you want the correct answer. Study mode is a bit different. It basically forces ChatGPT into a different role. So you could have done this manually. You could have said, hey, ChatGPT, I want you to be a tutor. I'm trying to learn about large language model architecture. Please ask me questions, gauge my knowledge, and then ask follow-up questions in order to cement my understanding of the concept. So you could have prompted it in this way and got basically the same result. However, most people would not have thought to do that, and they wouldn't necessarily have known how to prompt it correctly. So ChatGPT has gone ahead and they've built in a mode, which is in the tool drop-down menu, which allows you to kick ChatGPT into study mode, where it's going to take on the role of a teacher, the role of a tutor. I don't know why they released it in the middle of what is basically the summer holidays for most of the world. It just seems like a weird time instead of doing it in September when everyone's back to school, but here we are. So if you are a student and you're on your summer holidays, you can use this to do your study. But I would say this is useful even for non-students. If there are concepts that you want to get a better grasp of, you can push it into study mode and have ChatGPT act as a tutor. And we have really good studies now. The one from Nigeria is probably the best one, showing that using AI as a supplementary tutor alongside other forms of learning is a really quick way to cement that knowledge. So previously, having a one-to-one tutor was something that only rich people could have. So rich children could have access to a tutor who sits with them and assesses their knowledge and gives them questions and makes sure that they are progressing. Now this is arguably available to everybody via ChatGPT, which is extremely exciting for education. It does require that the kid uses this mode. It's a bit like the internet. It's a bit like YouTube. It's a bit like the TV. These are technologies where you give it to a child or you give it to a teenager. Sure, they could use it to learn, or they can use it to mess around. So it's about what we use that technology for. It's a general purpose technology, and it can be used for amazing things like this study mode, but it can also be used to goof around. Absolutely. So I've got study mode here. I've got it live on my screen. If you're on any other platform apart from TikTok, sorry, TikTok. But let me just put in, for example, teach me about large language models. Just an example. Let's see what it does. Awesome. Before we dive in, quick question to guide how we go. So it's going to first work out what my level of knowledge is. So what's your current level of understanding? Is it A, I've heard of ChatGPT, but that's about it. B, I kind of get the AI that reads and writes text. That's a weird sentence. C, I've read some stuff, tokens, transformers, training, but want to clear a mental model. D, I understand the architecture and want to go deeper into the math or cutting edge research. So let's go ahead and put in B. Perfect. So you understand that LLMs are AIs that read and write text. I'll help you build a strong, clear foundation from there. Here's how we'll do it. And then it gives me a definition of what a large language model is. And then it's given me a breakdown, how it works at a basic level. Let's break it into 3 steps: training, architecture, generation. Quick analogy. Think of it like a very fast reader with an amazing memory who's read the entire internet, but it doesn't understand like a human. It just predicts really well what sounds right next. Okay, this is good so far. And then it's giving me a little question. Let's check your understanding. We can do this together. This is fun. Try understanding this. No pressure. Why is it called a why is it called a language model? Did it give me that? Why is it called a language model? What level of answer? So I'm already stumped. So it's forcing me to learn here because it takes language. So I'm going to give it a wrong answer. Let's see what happens. That's really close, and you're thinking in the right direction. Let's fine tune it just a bit. A model in machine learning is a mathematical system trained to find patterns and make predictions. Cool. So when we say a language model, we mean a system that has learned the patterns of language and can use them to predict or generate text. It doesn't truly understand like a human, but it's trained to model how words and sentences work together. The large part just means a lot of data, i.e. millions or billions of internal settings, parameters. So that's good. It did push back. It didn't just say, oh yeah, great job. It did say, no, that's not quite right. And then it gave me a better answer. I want to keep going. I can walk you through how transformers work. I can show you how LLMs think, or we can do a fun you be the LLM game so you get how they generate responses. Okay. So it will continue to ask me topics and it will move ahead in this way. So go and try it out. This is now live. To get to it, you're going to go down to the bottom and there's a tool selector. So that's where you normally choose deep research, creating images, web search and Canvas. Now there's one called study and learn. I do feel sorry for anyone who had an AI tutoring app though. Oh, actually, okay, so I speak Chinese, Mandarin Chinese. So I need to refresh my Chinese reading and writing. I'm going to put it into tutor mode. Okay, so what's your current level? HSK 3. Perfect. I don't know, probably more than HSK 3. Do you want to do this by hand? No. So reading fluency. So again, it's asking me questions about how I want to learn, what I want to learn. So our focus would be on character recognition, speed and comfort, reading short passages, common grammar patterns, and sight vocab. And then it's given me a plan. Okay, then it's given me sources. Let's try a practice round now. I'll give you a short paragraph at HSK 3 level to read and ask what does it mean. Okay, so yeah, we can use it for something like language. And it's doing it in Chinese. Fantastic. Okay, I'm not going to start reading Chinese on my live stream. But cool. Very interesting. I'm actually going to be using this later because there are some concepts. I'm starting to get into robotics. I want to learn more about robotics and I don't know where to start. So I'm going to be using the study mode to get a basis in robotics and go from there. So as I say, this is basically the same as giving it a new prompt at the beginning and saying, hey, I want you to be a personalized one-to-one tutor, work out my level, then provide learning material for me. What this is missing, I think it's missing, I might be wrong here, but it's missing a comprehensive overview of what I know and what I need to know. So this feels like it is still very much going to be winging it as it goes along. And it's going to be asking things that are relevant right now. But when I come back to this in a week or so, it's not necessarily going to have a complete picture of what my Chinese level is or what my AI knowledge level is. So I think it will just continue to ask me questions that are roughly correct, but it's not necessarily going to have an overarching plan for my learning, which is something a tutor does have because a tutor works from a curriculum. I might be wrong, and I could probably force it into coming up with a full curriculum and then keeping me on track with that by saying, hey, I want a long-term plan here. Let's have a curriculum. But right now, it looks like it's a bit more basic than that. And it is purely acting as a tutor and asking questions that kind of make sense at my particular level, which is fine. It's a good start. But I'd love to see this with a longer term specific tutoring knowledge memory so that it can tell me what we're doing next and have a larger overall plan. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that. Probably be using that. Okay, let me hop over to questions.